So we did get some info from recently passed Ray Stevenson. May he rest in peace. He said it's such an untold journey with Balin and Shin, and they kind of keep you second guessing. Are they? Aren't they? What is going on? What are they actually up to? Though they first appear as this, then it develops into it. It could, though it develops into it could be this, or what is it? So kind of like giving you like you're trying to figure out what these people are actually doing, who they are, and what their motivations are. And he says, and then there's something out there, something other. So it's a very exciting role to play. He's obviously being extremely vague, not giving away any details there because he doesn't want to. He's not allowed to. I can't talk about the actual show yet, obviously, because it comes out, I don't know, August, I guess. I think there was like a leak date of the 28th.
You know what they mean.
The other?
The other.
What do you
mean? The Grey.
Think they mean?
They're using Ahsoka's show to clarify the role of the Grey. I don't think Ahsoka's going to roll in with Rey. I think that Ahsoka is going to remain like a leader and become like the central point to the Grey Jedi that are like sort of weird Judge Dredd style Jedi that come in, murder, destroy, obliterate, and leave. And then you have your Sith that come in and try to rule, and that'll be the difference between the Greys and the Sith. The Greys obliterate and let it rebuild. They purge the sin, if you will. And then the Empire comes in, purges the sin, and establishes a new sin. And that'll be the difference betwing the two of them.
You think Ahsoka is going to be the leader of this?
I do. I think that's what they're talking about here. Is that's the other. That's the thing, because she's the main character, and that's the thing that they're going to be afraid of is her, because he's the bad guy.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I wasn't really seeing that. I really have no clue what he's actually talking about here. I would not be surprised if they try and do some of that Grey Jedi crap that a lot of fans try and create as like.
Well, that's what she said she was.
Central
right?
area. No, she's never called herself a Grey Jedi. Grey Jedi do not exist in Star Wars. That's a fan campaign trying to make them come to existence.
I thought
you've had people like Revan that have gone between the light and the dark side, but there's no such thing as like a Grey Jedi.
Didn't Luke talk about that in Last Jedi? Didn't he mention that there were a type of Jedi that were between the light and the dark? Isn't that what he said?
I don't know. I only watched the movie once and I haven't gone back to look at it. So there maybe he says something like that, but the idea of a Grey Jedi it contradicts being a Jedi in the first place.
Exactly. But that's not going to stop him.
Yeah, true.
They made a rock a Jedi, okay? I can't stress that enough. They don't care. A rock.
Yeah, I think it could be interesting to see. I mean, obviously you have in Star Wars Legacy, the Dark Horse comic book series that came out turn of the century, where you have kind of these Jedi and they actually serve the Empire. But they're still Jedi. Like a Jedi isn't beholden to a form of government. They're beholden to a way of life. And that way of life obviously can be probably adapted to different forms of government. So I could see that. So
I'm just saying that sounds an awful lot like we've never perceived a power like this before. It's always been light and dark, but now there's a third. And that's what that sounds like to me. Is there's a third?
Yeah, I definitely feel like that, or that there's something else out there, like Thrawn has built up something. I think that's more what he's kind of hinting at is the heir to the Empire arc that they're bringing in. Because Thrawn has like basically inherited the Imperial, and he's been off wherever Ezra is, and
palace intrigue, right? New leader, everybody's spooked because they don't know who he's gonna kill for. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's what I think it has more to do with Thrawn out there. The other, that's kind of how I read it.
We should see if The Rock will be Rey's co-star. We can replace Finn and Poe and just put
and
the Rock
Grogu.
In. Yeah, right. Just
Grogu's
put the Rock in. Rock and Rey. They're perfect. Star Wars. Rock
Grogu
and Rey.
Grogu is literally a rock anyways. He just makes sounds. So
it'd be great. That's what they should pin out. They should team up, put Grogu and the Rock, and have them go have like Scooby-Doo adventures, and it's just Grogu talking to a rock. There's no speech in the show at all. It's baby noises and dead silence.
Yeah. I did like I found this the way that Stevenson describes his character was interesting. He says, and he has a kind of, I would say, inherent nobility It's like if you don't stand in his way, he's got no malicious attitude at all. But if you do, you'd just be swept aside because there's something that's driving him that Mr. Filoni and Favreau know, and it's hopefully going to be revealed through the telling. Just breathtaking. So I do kind of like that, and that's kind of what you're talking about, where he's kind of almost like a Judge Dredd character, or this kind of like almost like a Dooku type, I guess, who hasn't like fallen to the dark side.
Are they really gonna do that?
I could see that actually makes more sense, that these are people that follow Dooku, not realizing he was actually an apprentice of Sidious, because you had that stupid line by Doc Brown in Mandalorian, where he's like, I follow Dooku and I'm a separatist still. And it's like, what in the world is happening here? The separatist movement was expunged like 50 years ago. And this guy's spouting off nonsense about the separatists. So that could be a hint that these people are like disciples of Dooku. We do know in Filoni's Clone Wars, Dooku was like, he recruited Savage Opress as an apprentice. He had Asajj Ventress. So these could be almost maybe something like Dooku's novices or accomplices in his mission to overthrow the Emperor at the time. And maybe like the Emperor never discovered them. He still had like this other option before he was executed by Anakin in Revenge.
So they're gonna Game of Thrones Star Wars and then ramrod the new mythology of the Grey Jedi right through the middle of it.
Yeah, I'm still not sure about the Grey Jedi stuff. I definitely see how they can go there. I think that's definitely a possibility.
May I ask, didn't Ahsoka declare in the Boba Fett book that she wasn't a Jedi? She told Luke she wasn't a Jedi?
That's been established for a while. She was basically kicked out of the Jedi Order because they accused her of plotting a assassination attempt against like the Senate, and it was really Barriss Offee who did it. And then when they try and reinstate her, she's like, I'm going my own way. The Jedi are not the way that I thought they should be. They're not the way that they're not practicing the Jedi Order anymore.
No way.
Basically what she was saying. Yeah, they were practicing being Jedis, and so she went off and did her own thing. And yeah, so I think she said she's not a Jedi announcer.
That's my inkling, is they're going to use that as the opportunity to link what Luke said about two extremes. The Sith and the Jedi represent extremes. And that's what he told Rey, is that they're both sides of the same coin, and that's why he didn't want to fight, is it just kept going. So this is the excuse. Remember, because they said they're going to start saying in Rey's movie, do the Jedi have any purpose in the galaxy? So Ahsoka's show is going to start entering in this other group of people that act in place of the Jedi, obliterating the Empire, fighting back, or wherever the timeline is with this. They're dealing with the Empire in a way that people prefer that to the Jedi. So again, we'll police ourselves. We don't need the police here. All Jedi are bees.
Yeah, I actually think that's definitely a possibility. I actually think that's interesting. I definitely think that's something that they would do, because they want to differentiate them from Sith as well, because Sith already have that connotation of like, these people are evil, but they're going to be still acting like Sith because they're still going to be people that are like enslaved to their passions, their emotions, etc. It's
so
like
sex, anger, cheating, palace intrigue.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether or not this is right or wrong. My emotions are telling me that this is good and it feels good and it's right, so I can do it, even though it's just completely detrimental to you and your spiritual health, spiritual well-being, and even maybe physical health and physical well-being.
Where they'll differ is that the Empire, the Sith, for instance, want to oppress people into their belief system, and the Greys just want you to live however you want. And that'll be the difference.
Yeah, I definitely I think you're right on point there. Because that's literally mimicking what we do, what's happening in our own society. Right? Obviously, there's like a combination of the suppression.
I think we found the way, John. I think we found the way.
I mean, we just end the show right now.